Welcome back, everyone. This is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, here with another video breaking down one of the events. And I've gotten this question a couple of times. The first one was actually a few weeks back, and I'll have to admit this kind of split my mind. But with Island Raid coming up again in 2 days, granted, it's the registration period, I thought it would be a good time to address it. And that is the specific question about what can a free-to-play or low spender do to benefit their team, whether it be in the open field or in towers, which is primarily where you're going to be fighting. Now, the easiest way to answer this question is to determine at what point you are in your island raid. If you're in about the middle of the pack power, then your ability to fight in the open field is going to be largely determined by who else is on said field. Now, you may not be able to go up against some of the whales in other alliances. I know if I went up against some of ours, being quite a bit stronger than me, I wouldn't hold up as long as I would like, but I could still fight them. Granted, if I ran into people from much stronger alliances than me, then I would be dealing with 200 and 300 million might whales. And let's just say if I can last about 30 seconds in combat, then I've accomplished something. So, what can I do if I'm at that level where I'm up against 300 might players and I'm severely outmatched, but I want to be able to help my team? There's two primary ways. One, most of Island is going to be fought in towers, whether it be the watchtowers themselves or any particular buildings that you have on the map. I wish I had the map to work with at this point in time, but anyone who's been through Island already knows the different villages and points on the map that you can control. This is where your fighting is going to happen. They're going to be fought over these buildings, and they're going to happen through towers. The easiest way to benefit your team is to be prepared to fight in these towers anytime that you're online. Now, when you're garrisoning these towers, you want to make sure you have infantry. The best way to go ahead and set up infantry marches is to actually go ahead and preset them. This comes with a caveat. If your tower is fairly full already, you're going to be marching partial marches over. But one thing that you can do, especially in a pinch, is to make sure that you have some preloaded marches ready to go. I can come in here, create a squad, and I can come over and load different save files for marches to send to different locations. This saves you on picking your heroes, saves you on picking your troops, and goes ahead and gives you the best option from getting to point A to point B. Now, remember, when you're in a tower, if you're not the big spender, your heroes don't matter. So the goal is to pick the fastest heroes that you can manage. A lot of people will go with commanders like Cynthia and Freya due to their high march speed, even if it's not directed towards riders specifically. They have talent trees available to them that allow them to speed up their troops. This field battle tree is great for getting to point A to point B. Cynthia, who was the other one that had it? I know there was one other commander early on in the game that has the field battle tree. Regardless, if you find that commander that has the field battle tree, this is an easy choice for one of your marches. Another one you can do, surprisingly, is pick a commander that has the support tree. The support tree comes with this skill. Squad travel speed increases by 60% for 10 seconds after leaving a building. Guess what there's a lot of around towers? Other people's shelters. Those count as buildings. You can use this to bounce between buildings, even if buildings along the way are being defended, even if buildings along the way are full. You can bounce between other nearby buildings and not have to worry about being on the field for too long, because we need to get your troops from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Now, you've got your troops out on the field. You're trying to get into a tower, but tower only holds so many troops, and it's full. You have 200,000 troops. It still has 1.4 million. What do you do? A lot of these buildings around here, especially the ones around the tower, should be the ones with higher reinforcement limits. Reason being, if you put someone with, let's look at Dewey's. He's got 1 million. Ain't Zane only has 750,000. He can hold maybe 3 marches. Dewey can hold 4. Hey, I'm hungry can also hold 4. You can stack marches in these buildings and be prepared to load this tower as soon as there is enough troops. And it's just a matter of making sure that you're there to click it. I can bounce in the building, and as soon as I'm ready, hold it, and like, if there's space, it will automatically move you in there. If there's not space, it won't pull you out of your shelter to begin with. So your troops will stay safe inside of a shelter, because on territory, shelters can't be attacked until your troops are ready to get in there. And the less time that you're out on the field, the less chance these rallies or any other marches that may have field control are attacking you, because you want as many troops in here as possible. So, and you can back them out just as easily. Then I'm back in 3 seconds. Going back in with a preloaded march. That whole exchange took me about 10 seconds, because I had my troops saved, I bounced between buildings, and I'm back in the tower. That's how you handle that. You can also do the same thing with your own rallies, because you will have people on the edge of territory that you can bounce between, and then leave yourself the shortest possible distance between your ally. And say my rally's over here, I would bounce all the way to Kev here, and I would have a very short distance to cross. And if I've picked my fast troops, I'm not on the field for too long. I can get them riders, ranged, whatever they need, in as little a time as possible. So, we've talked about rallies, we've talked about garrisons, but I know a lot of you really want to fight in the open field. And I get that. Being able to fight against some of these bigger whales and come out on top with your team is a huge boost to your morale. So, how do you benefit knowing that you don't really stand a chance damage-wise? The best way to do it is to put troops on the field that don't care about what troops you brought to the field. What I mean by that is you're going to be bringing support, buff, and debuff troops, because they bring buffs to the table that don't care about what troops you brought. If I bring T4, this 15% is still 15%. Doesn't matter if I brought T1, T4, or T6. So I'm going to be reducing the damage taken by me and nearby allies by 15%. With commanders like Alex, I'm boosting infantry squad defense, range squad attack, and rider squad HP by 40%. That is huge. You and 4 more of your allies are getting this buff for 2 seconds at a time. Lee is another huge boon, getting that attack, defense, and HP debuff by 30%, or if you manage to have him awakened, 35. These don't care. You can bring the weakest troops on the map, and Lee, Alex, Tom, ones that bring buffs and debuffs, don't give a damn. Now, how do you bring them onto the field without killing them? Because let's be honest, if anyone on your team sees a Lee, if anyone on their team sees a Lee, he's dead. Doesn't matter who he belongs to. Same with Alex. They know to go after buff and debuff first. So what do? Well, you put something in front of them that they don't want to hit. Everyone knows you go after Alex, you go after Lee, you go after heavy hitters on the map like Catherine, Bella, ones that are going to do a lot of damage. Lewis. If you see a Chun, definitely hammer it down. But what are some commanders no one likes to hit? These three right here are good options. Just to show you what I mean, let's go out here. Let's put Raigoro with... Where'd you go, buddy? You disappeared on me. There you are. Put Raigoro with Alex. When we click on this march in the field, the only thing we see is Raigoro. And that's the easiest way to target somebody. Now, if they're by themselves on the field, you can see this drone. You kind of know by that coat, that's Alex. You probably want to kill him. However, you're not going to be alone in a group fight. At least I hope not. If you're out alone on the field as a free-to-play player, you're doing it wrong. So let's see how hard it is to determine what's there. It's a lot harder to see that drone, isn't it? It's also a lot harder to click and find Alex, much less get to Raigoro. So you have a tanky unit on the field that is giving buffs to all of your allies that no one is thinking about touching. And you can do this with all of your debuff troops. You can put... I can bring Raigoro out here with a Lewis if I wanted a little bit of extra damage. However, I would not advise that. I could come out here with Raigoro Lee. And it would be... get them all in a murder ball. See how hard it is to see Lee's motorbike. Kind of hard to tell, don't you think? In the end, you're giving your team valuable buffs, valuable debuffs, valuable benefit to combat without having to kill yourself to do it. Because you only have to target one person. Yes, you can be affected by AoE. Yes, you can be affected by inadvertent damage. But not many people are going to intentionally target a Raigoro on the field unless they know what you're doing. And you can switch it up. You can bring Tom out the next time. If you have Thunder, you can bring Thunder out the next time. Switch it up so that the enemy isn't constantly looking for your troop to kill it because they know what you're doing. You don't have to bring damage to the field in order to be good. You don't have to bring damage to the field in order to benefit your team in Island Raid. You just need to be there and have a plan in mind for what you're going to do and how you're going to help. Island Raid is a team event. Pick your role, stick to it, and be as good at it as you possibly can be. And with that, I think that's everything I have to say about this upcoming Island Raid and trying to benefit your alliance from a free-to-play standpoint. If you have any questions or content ideas, please leave them in the comments below. With that, this is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, signing off.